What's up? You already know who it is. Is the. You already know what I'm talking about. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for Anyways, I'm about to get into it. So today, you already know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Love Is Blind, the finale, the reunion aired yesterday, and I finally got to watch it today. And y'all, let me tell y'all, we're gonna be getting into some things, okay? You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna be getting into some things. I'm gonna actually like recap the whole season, I guess, cause that episode by episode stuff, like that's for the birds for me. Like for Love is Blind, like this is the first time watching it this season. It's my first time. Like I was not about to break down every episode. Like we just gonna recap. We just gonna recap. And I feel like a lot of stuff I'm gonna say, y'all gonna be like, huh? What? But we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Maybe y'all agree. Maybe y'all agree. But first I wanna talk about the Etsy shop me and my brother have. You know my brother, if you've been here, his name is Sebastian Minaj. Go check him out. You know what I'm talking about. He and I have an Etsy store of shirts of like popular singers and anime and cool designs, and it's called S3F Stagio. It'll be linked in the description or somewhere. It'll be somewhere on the screen so you know how to spell it, because try to get Japanese words in here, all right? And I know y'all can't spell already. You're struggling with the English. But yeah, go ahead and check that out and then watch the rest of this video. Boom. All right, so one thing I wanted to say before I really got into the nitty gritty about Love is Blind is I wanted to talk about the fact that these people are people. But when I watch this show, my judgments and the things that I'm saying, I'm not saying them like judging them as people. I'm judging them as characters from a show. Almost like it was recorded and like with a script and it wasn't reality TV. I don't know these people. I'm seeing them in a limited fashion. Like I'm not like if I saw these people in real life, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you hoe. Why was you talking to so and so like that? How dare you talk to her? She was being nice, nothing but nice to you. Here you go being a snake, a two-faced snake. Like I'm like it's a TV show. Like these producers are getting people who are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I'm just gonna say I'm basing everything I'm saying off of characters. Like I don't know these people. I'm not gonna look at them as like I'm not gonna judge them as harshly. You know what I mean? I'm gonna judge them, but I'm not judging them as people. I'm just judging them as characters on a TV show because that's all I know them as. All right, I'm gonna try to give them like a little benefit of the doubt that maybe they might be a little different outside the TV show. I'm talking about because TV, like people change from the TV. So that's all I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about? That's my little thing. Okay, but I'm gonna cut to the chase because I already talked too long. I'm rambling. So I'm gonna go through the couples. And I'm gonna go through like the whack couples first. No, I'm just playing, But first, I'll talk about Taylor and JP. Tell me how I just found out his name was Jared. I'm not paying attention because I did not know his name was Jared. I thought now I should have known that his name wasn't JP, but I just said okay, JP. Anyway, so Taylor and JP, they were like the first couple to be like, oh, I love you, will you marry me? And Taylor's like, oh my god, JP, yes, I will marry you. So they were like the first couple. Like it was real quick too. And the thing for me is they kind of looked like they played the part. Like he looked like, so he was a firefighter, he looked like a country firefighter. Like I could see that, like policeman, firefighter, something like that. Like that, real patriotic, real southern white boy. You know what I'm talking about? Like I got that from him. And she was kind of like this southern white girl, real. You could see her wanting the 2.5 kids and white picket fence. And what's that girl who's saying, dang, what's that song? Miranda Lambert. Like she kind of gave off this Miranda Lambert type vibe. I don't know. So I saw them two together. I said, all right, well, if it clicked for them, it clicks for me. Good for them. But let me tell you, the moment I saw each other, it fell apart. So They after he proposed, they went on vacation. I think it was to Mexico. Mexico. I'm trying to learn Spanish, y'all. On my little Duolingo, the bird looking out for me. You know what I'm talking about? But they went to Mexico for vacation, and it was just awkward. Like she kept asking questions, he kept giving one word replies. He kept giving that grin on his face when it's like, I don't know if you're planning to kill me or if like you're nervous. Like I couldn't tell. I was like, is she gonna die? Like what type of show is this? Like what's going on? Because he was just I guess nervous. Like I guess he's a shy guy. You know what I'm talking about? He's a shy guy. So I don't know, but it was very quiet when they were on the TV. Cause she was like, "Do you like me? You want to be with me? Like, do you see me being in your bed every night?" And he was like, "I guess." And I'm like, "Well, we're engaged. Like, you shouldn't be guessing. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what's going on?" And then he drops this bomb that's like, when I first saw you and you had on makeup, that I didn't like that. Like you don't need makeup. I felt like you were fake because you had makeup on. Like you're prettier without makeup. I don't want you to wear it. And I'm like, I don't know where this just went, but it went left. In fact, I know where it went. It went left. Because what are you talking about? Like she can't wear makeup? You never said this? Like I'm so confused. Like I don't know if I meet somebody and I don't know what they look like. I'm just naturally nosy. Maybe the producers told them they couldn't like say, but I'd have been like I don't know. It's just like, do you like short girls? Do you like girls who wear makeup or frilly dresses? I feel like that's a question that would have popped up if you never saw somebody. Like I felt like I would have asked that question or said something like that. Like, oh yeah, I don't like people who got like 5 piercings on their face. Like, I feel like you just say stuff out of the blue. I don't know. But the fact that that never came across and he saw her with makeup and said, don't like it. That was confusing for me. Because I've heard of people say, oh yeah, I don't like my girl wearing makeup or I like girls who wear makeup. But to this extent, like she barely wore it. She wore it for like very special occasions. Like, what does it matter? She still looked like how she looked like. Like, I'm confused. So, child. So that really ended the relationship. I think Taylor really was affected by that comment because the next night she said, "We done, we good, we tried," and JP was like, "But I still love you, I still try." And she said, "Baby, this ain't gonna work out, sugar boo, sugar. What she call him, sugar bear, something like that." She said, "Ain't gonna work out, sugar bear," and he said, "All right, sugar." By the time they got back to the reunion, so of course I watched the reunion. I'm going to just speak on Taylor and Jared for the reunion. She seemed still hurt by the things that he did. I don't know if I don't really understand why she was so hurt. Like she said, she really tried. And I think she was still looking for some sort of closure from him because he apologized for the makeup comments and said that's not what he was trying to say, even though that was what he was trying to say. He just sounded like really mean because that's a mean statement. That's a mean thought to say you're fake because you wear makeup or you're not real because you wear makeup. Like, it's a judgment nonetheless. Like, there's no way to say that. I mean, there is a way to say it nicer than what he said it, but that's really what he meant. Like, I mean, sir, that's you. But he apologized and she accepted it. But you could tell before that apology, she was like, I don't like that man. That man wronged me and I deserve an apology. But she got it. So that was cute. That was great. Now I will say, like, I was kind of surprised how quickly it turned because they did kind of seem like from looking at them, they did seem like, oh yeah, you could see them as a couple. But this is called Love is Blind, not Love is a Stereotype. You know what I'm talking about? So I guess it only made sense that, it didn't work out. That's the show. But yeah, chill. And then we move on from them. And then we get to this like 4-person love. I want to call it a triangle, but I also want to call it a square. Like there was 4 involved, so that there was 4 different angles to the story. But essentially, there is two guys, two girls, and somehow they're all connected to each other. All right. So there's Chris and there's Izzy, the two guys, and there's Johnny and there's Stacy, the two girls. Now I'm gonna be quick with this, but Johnny like Izzy, and then Chris like Johnny, but then Stacy like Izzy, and then Izzy like Johnny and Stacy. Right? You get it? You hear? You watch the show. I ain't even gotta explain. You already know what I'm talking about. But basically, the two girls were fighting for Izzy's attention. Izzy was struggling to pick, and at the same time, Johnny was struggling to pick between Izzy and Chris. So Johnny picks Izzy, Izzy picks Stacy, Johnny runs back to Chris. Ciao. But in the meantime, during all of that, I felt like in the pods, I felt like Johnny was being real messy. Like Johnny, she tried to act like, oh, I didn't know that Stacy liked Izzy, and I'm like, but you was talking bad about her for a while in the pod, so clearly you knew or had an inkling of an inclination. You had an inkling of an inclination to believe that they were involved somehow, and even when Izzy was putting Johnny first above Stacy because he's like, yeah, you're my number one, even though I have someone else. She still was talking bad about Stacy. She was like, Stacy's a safe bet. Stacy won't make him happy. They ain't gonna stick together. Stacy ain't nothing. I'm that man's one. I let that man. I that man is my man. Is my man, not your man, just my man. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, she was really like she was ride or dying for her relationship with Izzy, but at the expense of Stacy. And Stacy really wasn't saying nothing. She was kind of in the corner, like eating bread. And here go Johnny and four other girls. And Johnny's like, she won't make him happy. Not like I can. Not like me. Our relationship, it's different. Theirs isn't. She's safe. She'll never make it. Like, it was just, I don't know. It was just kind of like, girl, calm down. Like, Johnny, you're doing too much. And then this kind of, the thing is, the girls weren't on good terms. Like, Johnny may be talking behind Stacy's back, but Stacy's basically hearing all this from the girls. Like, they're not close, but they haven't like knocked heads. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they don't really talk to each other. But when the couples and everybody comes together outside of the pods, ooh, they clank clank. They clank clank. They knocking heads. They two bulls and they fighting, child. And to be honest, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, Stacy's dramatic. Stacy's this, Stacy's that." I'm not a fan of Stacy, but Johnny was doing a lot behind her back. Like, if I was Stacy, I wouldn't like Johnny either, and I may be a little dramatic and say some things too. Like, I don't know. It's just like Stacy was dramatic. Like, I agree with that. I really do. But Johnny was talking bad behind her back, like she wasn't there. She'd be in the next room sitting on the couch and she's talking bad about her. And some of y'all may be like, she wasn't talking bad about her. She was talking bad about the relationship. I don't know. To me, it's the same thing. You're saying I'm not gonna please him. I ain't worthy of him or something. I don't know. To me, it was the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. Because that's just how I feel. You know what I'm talking about? But after Izzy dumps Johnny for Stacy, Johnny runs back to Chris, like I said. And let me tell y'all, Chris, they try to make Chris, Izzy, I feel like everybody really, the show, try to make Chris seem like the nicest guy. Like, oh my God, like he would never hurt a fly. He cried when Johnny broke up with him. And now she's trying to run back for him. How dare she when she broke his heart? And then at the reunion, we find out that he cheated on Johnny. And don't even be like, he didn't cheat. He cheated on Johnny. If you in one relationship and get into another relationship while you're still in the first relationship, that's cheating. But he's the nicest guy. And then they were still trying to help him out and be like, he was too nice. That's why he cheated. He didn't even want to hurt my feelings. He's a good guy who cheated. He's a good man, Savannah. No, I'm sorry. That's an excuse. that was an excuse. They try to make Johnny seem like a horrible person, and Chris this stand up wonderful guy, and he's the one who cheats in the relationship. Johnny is allowed to choose somebody else over Chris, and she's also allowed to ask him back after Izzy dumps her. She's allowed to do that. Oh, well, she's playing with his emotions. No, she's not. She was honest. I chose somebody else. Now they're no longer an option. I'm willing to stay with you. In fact, I kind of regret that I chose him. She was honest with the man. There was nothing wrong with that. She's allowed to do that. That happens. And he said no. He's allowed to do that. Now, of course, they got back together after they met in the airport or whatever, after the pods. And then he cheated. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like y'all try to put this thing on Johnny, and it's just like Johnny was like mad annoying for talking about Izzy, because it was, I mean, talking about Stacy, because like, girl, you're doing too much. But it's also like she ain't doing much to Chris. All right, like yes, it hurt Chris, but Chris cheated on her. We gonna slide past that. We gonna slide past that because they really try to make him look like the good dude, but good dudes don't cheat. I don't know. That's just my hand. I don't know. All right. So moving on from them, because they're probably the two worst couples. Two, not worst, but like boring. They're the boringest couples. But Stacy and Izzy. Ooh wee, ooh wee, child. Like, I hate to say it, but I was agreeing with Johnny. I said they ain't gonna make it from the jump. I thought Stacy was like, I'm really fun in the pods. I'm really fun. I'm really adventurous. I would like to do stuff. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like one of those girls. Like she seemed like the type to be like, dare me right now to take this shot and like dance on this bar. Dare me right now. But she was gonna do it anyways. You know what I'm talking about? And then like, I don't know. That's what came across to me. And Izzy was very much like, I don't know what I want. I kind of want a mother, but I also want a best friend that's crazy. I don't know. He came across like he didn't really know what he wanted, and he just wanted anything. He wanted anybody that wanted him, and not anybody, but I don't know. I don't know, child. I don't know. I didn't think it was gonna work out. I said they seem like they dated in college, and then they look back and they were like, "Oh, that's fun." That's what I get from them too. Not a real relationship, but like a fun one and done, like a couple years, and then I graduated and I became an adult. You know what I mean? That's what I got from them. But Izzy actually proposed to Stacy, and she said yeah. And they went to Mexico too, and they had a swell time. Um, I don't think it was perfect, but it was really good. I think it was really good. I was like, okay, well, good for them. Still not thinking it's gonna work out, but good for them. But then after, things just start becoming widely apparent. Like it was cute as friends, but now that they have to like combine lives together, it wasn't given. Izzy, to me, was very emotional. And honestly, I don't think Stacy would have put up with that too long. I think Stacy liked things about Izzy that she never got from past relationships. But I think she was still going, at the end of the day, going to be like, okay, but you need to do these other things that they were doing and still be you. Like, when you I felt like she dated these, well, Izzy trying to kind of said that Stacy dated these older men who had money but weren't very like emotionally connecting to her, and she got that emotional connection with Izzy. But I felt like she was just so happy to find that emotional connection that she was there for then. But I'm like, in 20 years and you scream at him and he starts crying, like, are you gonna be okay with that? And I'm not saying in 20 years she's gonna yell at him and he start crying, but he was emotional, and I just felt like she liked it for the moment. But I felt like she was gonna stick it out for a little bit, and then she's gonna be like, I just liked it because it was different. That's what I got from Stacy. And looking at Stacy's family, Stacy needed a man that had money. And that's not even a bad thing. Stacy's family looked like they had money. Stacy looked like she had money, or at least her daddy did, because I looked at her job and I was kind of confused. I don't know how much they pay, But I said, okay, well, she got her own home. She's making renovations. Like, she's doing the deed. And she told Izzy, if I need $20,000, you need to drop it. And that's not how she said it, but that's how it kind of came off to someone who ain't got $20,000 to drop. I said 20,000. I ain't got 20,000. Now I can get a loan for 20,000, but I can't just drop no 20,000 liquid cash. Oh, and then Izzy, I feel like Izzy was faking the front because he was like, yeah, 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 I can be there. I could be that man. I'm like, Izzy, you haven't worked at your current job for a day yet, and you work in sales. Like, do you even know how much you're getting paid for real? For real? Like, I don't know. Like, he was a little emotional. Then he was lying about his finances. Like, he didn't. And the thing is, he tried to say he wasn't lying. He was lying. If you're hiding something, you're lying. He did not want to tell her about his bad credit. He was like, no, like, it's not like I'm in debt. It's just I have bad credit because years ago, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But I mean, it was only like $4,500. Like, it's paid off now. I just don't like using credit cards because, back then. And I'm like, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he has a nice apartment. It's not like I think he's broke, but compared to her, mm-mm, mm-mm, not at all. I don't think it was gonna work simply because of that. And him saying, "Oh, I don't have a credit card," but then saying he got bad credit, and then saying, "But I still got money though." I feel like if you had money, you would have been built your credit back up by now. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I feel like there's something there that he's not saying. And then the thing is, so the at the beginning I was like, they ain't gonna work out. But then at the end, I really thought, oh, okay, this is different. So spoiler alert, Stacy went to that, I don't even know what's called. Stacy went up to that wedding and said, no, thank you. I love the ring, I love the dress, I love my family's here, but we need a lot more time. We need a lot more time. I'm not comfortable getting married to you right now. And Izzy's response to me was telling. And I was happy for Stacy. Even though I don't really vibe with her like that for real, for real. I was happy for her. Cause he said "Yeah, so you gonna keep dating them 45-year-olds who don't do nothing for you when I could give you the world? I could do this, I could do that, but you keep dating them other hoes. I was like, Izzy, I know you mad, boo boo, but this ain't it. This is not how you react when you get news you don't like from the person you love and was going to marry. Like, you should have been like, I understand. I understand. That's simply it. But it's almost kind of like you kind of like tore her down a little bit for her past relationships instead of respecting the fact that she thought long and hard about how she wanted to move forward in the relationship with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very childish. Like, he responded very childish. And I didn't think Stacy was perfect. I already said I didn't vibe with Stacy like that. I did feel like I kind of gave her a little side eye because when her and her family were talking about like he doesn't have to be rich. I was like, yes, he does. Like, even the way she responded to him having plastic plates. She was like, "You got plastic plates?" Not really, but and this one wasn't a personal attack. I don't got no plastic plates. I've never had plastic plates. I moved out of my parents' house and I bought real plates, expensive ones, because I liked how they look. Okay, so that wasn't no. Okay, I understood because she shaded me about the 20K thing. That thing. I was like, okay, I ain't got no 20K either. But this, no, like he could have had some plates. Like, he's what, almost 30. Like, he could have had some plates. But I don't know. It just came across like a little judgmental, and it's just like it's their plates. Like, you can eat off the plates. Their plates. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. But she was already a little irritated because not then, but before she said no, he had tried to paint her this world, and realistically, he wasn't gonna give it. And also, realistically, he wasn't gonna give it in the 3 weeks before they get married. 3 or 2 weeks or something like that. Like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna do this for you, that for you, be romantic, da 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 da. And Stacy's like looking for that confirmation before they get married. Like, okay, well, be about what you said. Like, be about your business. Like, prove it. And he did nothing. And he's like, I was there for you. I'm like, okay, but like, if you say you're gonna do something, and like, she's looking for reassurance, and you're not really giving that in your actions. Nah, I mean. So I understood why Stacy said no, and I felt like she should have said no. I think Izzy should have said no, and his response to her saying no to me shows that they weren't together, shouldn't have been together. And when they got to the reunion, it was a little, in my opinion, it was a little weird, but they're cool. They're fine. In the beginning, he was stuttering. Like he didn't know what to say when they were asking him questions, but he got his little groove, his little lies. Because I don't think they as cool as he tried to make it seem. But then he kind of cooled out. One thing I do want to talk about though is Izzy's mom. I don't know why, but she was protective of him, but she was lovely. Shout out to Izzy's mom. She seems like a real good lady. Like I really like her. Shout out to her. And then we gonna move on to a different love square. And it's not even a love square. I'm gonna call it the love cross. Not cross like Jesus, cross like an X. Like fighting, like two swords fighting. Versus. You know what I'm talking about? That's the love cross. And that's because, okay, let me tell the people. So it was Lydia and Uche and Aaliyah and Milton. I said them names all wrong, y'all. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Aaliyah and Uche dated. Lydia and Milton dated. But before I get into their individual stuff, I'm going to talk about them all together. Because Lydia and Uche dated months before the show. And that's not the show. The show ain't you with exes and everybody got an ex. The show is you don't know these people and you're supposed to judge them for how they look like because you don't know. But they knew because they dated. They were sleeping together that January before. They were sleeping with each other that January before the show. So they know what they look like. But yes, that was a whole thing right there, and we're gonna get into it. But one thing that literally blew my mind is that when they were showing Lydia and Uche first, like in the pods, and she recognized his voice. And she was like, you don't, sorry, I almost did the accent. You don't recognize my voice? And Uche was like, I don't know who you is, boo. And she was like, trying to give him hints, and he couldn't get it. And I'm like, you slept with this girl a couple months ago, and you don't recognize her voice? He a liar. He lying. He was lying from the jump. And let me tell y'all, I get vibes from people. And I could tell he is a liar and a manipulator. Because how do you not know the lady that you were in a relationship for 2 years off her voice? And let me tell you, she Puerto Rican. I think she Puerto Rican. She got a heavy accent. How many Puerto Ricans did he date? How many Puerto Ricans do he know? Because she knew him and he acted like he didn't know her. I think he was lying. I think he was trying to play it like, oh yeah, I've moved on. I didn't even recognize her voice. It's like, you knew who she was. Please stop playing with me. Okay, but anyway, so that was a whole big thing. The fact that they dated each other. They did agree that, that they ain't gonna pursue nothing. They just gonna pursue other people, right? And so again, Aaliyah got with Uche. Lydia got with Milton. They have their own separate relationships. But if we look at actions, Uche was obsessed with Lydia. And Uche said that Lydia was obsessed with him. So, it's all a little confusing. It's really all confusing. It's not confusing. If you don't believe the master manipulator, then it's not confusing at all. And I feel like a lot of people feel differently, but this is just how I feel. I don't think that Lydia got on this show to be with Uche. I think the producers put this together. I really do. And during the reunion, they try to say that the producers were like, oh, like, should they leave the show? Should they stay? The producers did that to cover their tail. The producers made sure them people were there together. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The way that Uche speaks about Lydia and why he stayed with her for pity and this, that, the third, she was going through a rough time, but y'all just had. I said, them producers said, we got a juicy one. Find Lydia. That's just what I think. But basically, when they got to a point where they could tell other people that they had dated, Uche told Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was like dumbfounded. She was like, "Why? Like, I hate that. Like, I don't like that at all." Because she had became real good friends with Lydia, and now everything Lydia did to like that said to her or anything like that, it's not like what was she trying to do? Like, was there a second motive? This, that, the third, and then when she told Lydia. Lydia started blabbing her mouth way too much, and she was like, "I just want to be honest. I know how he flip it, dip it, rip it, and reverse it. I know what car he drive. I know where he live. I've been in his house. I wear his clothes. I've seen his parents." It was like it was way too much. It was like, Lydia, like, what is going on? Like, Lydia, why you telling all y'all business? Like, she don't want to know that. And here go Aaliyah. I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to. I told her I did. I don't know. I really felt like Aaliyah, like, you're really making yourself out to be a victim. I don't know. Like, I felt like she did that a lot of times, to be honest, throughout the show. Even when she and Uche had her first fight because she admitted that she cheated in a previous relationship and he was judging her. And she was like, I told him, I didn't tell him I cheated because I didn't want to hurt him. We'd already broken up. And Uche was like, or you did it to protect yourself because you didn't want to admit, like, you didn't want to be the bad guy. She was like, no. And I'm like, girl, yes, that is what it is. Like, it's all right. Like, y'all ain't even together no more. Like, just be like, yeah, I did it to protect myself. I didn't want to hurt him, but I also didn't want to be the one to hurt him. You know what I'm talking about? And I knew it would have hurt him. I understand that. But she was like, no, I just like she was always doing that little voice. That I just don't think and I'm like, girl, I can't do this. Like, I need you to get a grip. Stand up. But into we'll get into Uche later. But yeah, so that was a very interesting part of the show. I think probably the most interesting part of the show. And people think that Uche and Lydia shouldn't have been on the show because of it, but it was entertaining to me. It was very entertaining to me. So I liked it. And one of them actually found love. So, well, one of them actually got married. Let me say that. But talking more about their relationship together, that's like Aaliyah and Lydia. And let me be straight. I'm on Aaliyah's side. Lydia should not have told her none of that. But do I think Lydia made this girl to be a victim? Not at all. Like I understand, like, you don't want to hear that. But I also didn't think that you were very clear with her and being like, stop talking to me about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't think she was. I do think Lydia was in the wrong, but I don't think she hurt you like that. I don't think she stabbed you. I don't think it's anything to call the police over. Like, to me at the reunion, she was like, I just want to know because I'm doing a fake. I don't know why I'm doing accent, but she was like, I just wanted to because that I feel like it ruined my experience. And I'm like, girl, like, calm down. Like, it was not that serious. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I know people will be like, you're invalidating her experience. A little bit. A little bit. Yeah, I think she was dramatic. I do. Yeah, I do. And then going over to Uche and Milton's relationship, let me tell y'all, Milton played Uche 45 times, and Uche never knew. But that's the thing about a manipulator. They don't think they can be manipulated or outsmarted. They think they know everything, and they think that nobody else gonna see past their bullcrap. But Milton saw through it immediately. Like, Uche was trying clearly to sabotage Lydia and Milton's relationship because I think he's still obsessed with Lydia. And Milton was basically like, listen, we're not friends. I don't care what she did with you. I have my own relationship. Thank you for the information. Have a good, jolly good day. And I was like, ooh, dang. Like he was so patient because I'd be like, I don't need to talk to you, Uche. I don't need to talk to you. And then she was like, no, let's just talk like as friends. Well, that's my friend. And he was like, that you are not my friend. And then even when Uche said, all right, I'll text you, he said, all right, I'll text you in the group chat. And Uche was like, I'm like, Uche, you didn't catch that? Uche, he just said he ain't your friend, Uche. Oh my lord, I don't know. But he played him. He played him dead, dumb, and dolly. I don't even know what that means. But moving on to their separate relationships of Aaliyah and Uche, it wasn't gonna work from the start. It wasn't gonna work from the start, and I don't blame Aaliyah. I blame Uche. So again, in this Aaliyah v Uche matter, I'm on Aaliyah's side. How you gonna be like, did you cheat on anyone recently? She's like, yeah, I cheated like 2 years ago. And he's like, how dare you? You're a horrible person. And she's like, where? To come to find out, Uche cheated on Lydia months earlier. Same year. Same 365 days. How that makes sense? How you gonna judge her for doing what you did, but worse? Even though she did it longer than ago. That was so dumb. It just wasn't gonna work out with them two. And then the fact that Aaliyah left the experiment, and then Uche called her, and then was still like kind of disrespecting her on the phone. Like she was like, I couldn't do it because I got in an argument with Lydia. And he's like, but how could you let her come between us? It's like, what are you talking about? Like she left because she wanted to leave. Like, why are you calling her and being like, I'm gonna now like be angry on the phone? And then she was like, at near the end, she was like, I want to talk, and he was like, no, I don't want to talk to her anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm like, so you called her to like emotionally get in her head for a little bit? Like I'm so confused. Like she left. If you weren't gonna vibe with her because she left, then let her leave. I'm so confused. But whatever. So she left. He leaves to go meet her. He on an airplane. He get a notification. She followed him. He's like, okay, cool. He get off the plane. She unfollow him. He's like, what? She text him, hey, what up? He about to text back. He blocked. He's like, what's going on? They get to the dinner table. He say all that, and she's like, well, I still want to be with you. Huh? Did you not see how he treated you after you said you cheated? After he responded you saying you cheated, after Lydia told you that he's a cheater, after he called you on the phone and confuddled your head up, and after he sat here and said, I don't know what you want because, and then basically embarrassed you on TV when he didn't have to really say that. And you still saying, I still love you. I still want to be with you. I'm like, Aaliyah, I like you. But you're being very, very dumb right now. That's all I'm saying. You're being very, very dumb right now. And but but Uche was like, sorry girl, you being a little too cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for me. And from what we heard at the reunion, Uche is probably colorist, and you know what? I believe it. Look at his hair. Look at his hair. I mean, I caught that from the get-go. And then he's a lawyer, and I'm like, look how he talks. Like, you don't have to talk like that. You don't have to talk like that. Down on people. And then even when like all the people came together and how he spoke to that black lady, and he's like, I'm just talking to, I don't even know who he was talking to. So maybe Stacy. He's like, I want to have a real conversation with Stacy. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. It's just like, so you treating the black girl crazy, even though they're both saying the same thing with the same tone and the same emotion. All right. Yeah, it's giving colorist. I'm not saying he is colorist. I'm saying I believe he is. That's all. Um, And that's why he looked like that. That's why his haircut is like that. I'm telling y'all, that's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. But going on to Lydia and Milton, let me tell y'all, I did not see this relationship. I'm not gonna say last, but I just didn't see it happening at all. And when they got together, I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. Cause I didn't know. I will say Milton's family, I like Milton's family, but they did remind me a lot of how educated black people act in white spaces. Almost like when they're constantly fighting the stereotypes, they come across a little pretentious. That's how they kind of came across, just a little bit. But I don't think that's a super duper like, oh, I hate their family, they're pretentious. Like, it's just like, oh, they could be a little pretentious. That came across. That's all. You know what I mean? But that was kind of good in his favor because Lydia knew that he had a strong backbone. Like, he had a strong foundation. She was not gonna be able to run over Milton. Like, she wasn't trying to, I don't think. But when you know someone older is dating someone younger, like when they know they got family that's ride or die about them, I feel like it's just good to show, because you know that that older person is not there to like play games. Like, you see them as a people, you see them like as a strong person that has people who will protect them and stuff like that. So I just like that. I like that about Milton's family. Um and about them together, like Milton's young, he's 24, Lydia was like 30 or something. And a lot of people are like, they're trying to make that an issue. I don't think it's an issue, low key. I just really don't. I think Lydia will love anybody who loves her. So good for her. And Milton, I don't know what he needs. I'm just glad he found what he wanted. How about that? How about that? I don't know what he needs, but I'm glad he found what he wanted. I do think that I I wonder, because some people be like, oh, there's something I love about them, but it's also something you dislike about them. And for Milton, it was Lydia's emotional capacity. Like, she had a lot of emotions and she displayed them very emotionally. Not emotionally, I would say passionately. Well, but not even really. I don't know. It's just like Milton is very like to himself, like he very contained on emotions, and Lydia's very expressive. There we go. That's a good one. She's very expressive with her emotions. And I don't think he understood that. And it was like something he liked about her, but it was also something he disliked, because when Uche was trying to make her look crazy and trying to make her look like a stalker, and she went crazy on him, not really even crazy, she just kind of like, she got mad at him. Milton was like, I didn't like how you reacted. And I'm like, Milton, like, you can't understand that, like, not everyone's going to be able to bottle their emotions and act professionally. Like, you're going to have to just accept that from her. That's who she is. That's how she reacts. And I'm going to get into that more later. But that's one thing that worried me. They did end up getting married. Milton did propose. They got to the wedding and they still said yes. I really like that. At the reunion, Lydia was talking about how she and Milton's family are really close. I loved that because I think that's important. So I really love that. I love that Lydia's mom cared. I love that they went to visit Puerto Rico. Like, they're really involving each other with each other's lives. Like, it's not yeah, we got married but we're living separate lives, but we're married, because I feel like that's going to cause like cracks pretty quickly. But it was like, no, like, they really became involved with each other through a short amount of time. They really like decided, they really were they made the choice to be with each other and be in a traditional marriage, and they're really sticking to it. So I appreciate that. Now, going back to all four of them together, at the reunion, Aaliyah was talking about how she was wronged by Lydia. Again, I'm kind of more on Aaliyah's side because Lydia was doing the most. The only person that had a similar experience to Aaliyah is Milton. Of the person you're dating dated somebody else in the pods, and that wasn't the case. That wasn't what it was supposed to be. That's not what they signed up for. When Milton said, I'm gonna defend who my wife is, after Lydia apologized. Lydia said, yeah, it was my bad, my fault. Like, he was like, okay, yeah, it was her fault, but I know who she is. And she didn't mean to be vindictive. She didn't mean it to hurt you. She didn't mean to affect your relationship. Like, that's just who she is. Like, I'm gonna defend my wife. Point blank, period. And that's on what? Period. And then people try to say, like, oh, I don't care what he says. This 24-year-old, he invalidated. He didn't invalidate anything, to be honest. He gave his opinion when he's in a similar situation. He didn't invalidate her feelings. He didn't say that Lydia was in the right. He didn't say that she overreacted. He said, I'm defending my wife's, like, her character, her morals. She did not attempt to hurt you. That's all he was saying. So he didn't try to invalidate Aaliyah. Not at all. I don't agree with that at all. But Aaliyah did give Milton some props for dealing with Uche. I'm telling you, like, nobody liked Uche. And I don't blame him. I didn't like Uche. I'm gonna be for real. And again, I'm saying these as characters. I don't know these people in real life. But I am sure, because I'm a paralegal, I'm sure if I worked for Uche and he was my lawyer, I'd cry to go on work. I would cry going to work. I would cry going to work every day. I'll be playing Adele, Amy Winehouse, SZA, sad music every day. Like, because that man was crazy. That man was crazy. He really thought he was smarter than everybody else in the room. And people like that just aren't usually good to work for either. But overall, what do I want to talk about? Like, I know I missed stuff, but overall about this show, I wanted to say that this show, you quickly have to accept someone for who they are. For an example, Milton was messy. And I know there's a lot of conversation about the fact that the man is messy and the wife has to pick up after him, and it's not a good relationship for the woman to be his mother. And I agree. But on the other hand, it's just like, if your partner is messy, you're going to have to accept that if you want to marry them. Like, you just have to. Because more likely than not, they're not going to change. They may get better, they're not going to change. And that's one thing I liked about the first couple, Taylor and JP, is that Taylor said, I'm not going to accept it. She did not, she could see who JP was. She didn't think, oh yeah, well, if we keep going, I can make him talk more, or I can make him be fine with me wearing makeup. It's like, that's who he is, and that's not what I want. Move on. Sorry, not sorry. It's just like, that's one thing I felt like Stacey and Izzy had trouble doing. I really felt like Stacey was looking through like these rose-colored lenses, and she was like, Izzy's going to get better. Like, I felt like she wasn't seeing Izzy for who he was, and I feel like Izzy was trying to put on that he was going to be better, but it's just like, just be honest. Just be honest. Because, like, even sometimes alone, he'd be like, I'm a guy that's fine with paper plates and plastic plates and plastic cups and this, that, the third. And she isn't. And I'm not saying that two people can't cohabitate who, like, have these different, standards. But I don't know. I was just like, I really don't see any compatibility with their lifestyle. And I feel like that matters. It matters a little bit at least. But yeah, I just really feel like you have to accept someone, like what they come with. Because I don't think they're going to change. They will get better if they put the effort. But I don't think they're gonna change. Like, Milton's still messy, but they say he picks up his towels. They clap for him on that. And I know that looks so stupid. It's like, who's clapping for a grown man picking up towels after himself? Like, that's what you should be doing. But I'm just like, that's what Lydia accepted. That's what Lydia chose. And you may not choose it, but she did. And I don't think she should be judged for choosing it either. I think that's her choice. Um, but the thing about accepting someone and not thinking in your head they're gonna change is that in 10 years, when it was cute at first, like, oh, like he leaves his like stuff on the ground, I have to argue with him to pick it up. Like that's not gonna be cute in 10 years when he's leaving his stuff on the ground and you either gotta pick it up or you gotta yell at him to pick it up. Like you really just have to accept, can I accept these flaws in 80 years? Because more likely than not, the flaws will still be there. If they're trying, they'll be better, but the flaws will be there. Even for Milton, like he liked that she was passionate, but also kind of like wish that she was able to display her emotions differently. And it's like she's not gonna display them differently. You gotta love her for who she is. So if she may handle something you wouldn't handle it like in 20 years, you better be okay with that. You better be okay with that. Because more likely than not, she's not going to change. And you shouldn't want them to change. You should love them for who they are. You should want them to be better for themselves. But I mean, yeah, I just feel like that's something couples have to do, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to accept the person. They want them to change, and yeah, it would probably be for the better. Like Milton not being messy, that would be for the better, for the betterment of himself. But it's just like that's who he is. He's comfortable with it. He may be better for you. He may be better for himself, but likely it would be similar. He would still have those issues. But I really like this show, Love Is Blind. At least I like this season. Um, I may think of going back and watching a different one. I don't know. But I need y'all to tell me what y'all think in the description. Because I know I've been saying things different than what I see on Twitter. I see a lot of people like, oh, Lydia's this, Lydia's crazy, Milton did that, and Uche's this. Nah, I may be agreeing with the Uche one. I may be agreeing with the Uche ones. Um, but overall, I don't think most of the people were annoying or horrible or bad. I do think Uche definitely played the villain role this season. And I think he played himself, and I think he plays himself a lot, most likely. Um, but you know, that's what it is. That's who they are. And the producers did a darn good show putting them on. And I'm sorry, you will never convince me that the producers didn't do it on purpose, because they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. But tell me your thoughts below. Remember to check us out, S3S Stagio on Etsy.com, linked below. You know what I'm talking about? I may put a picture up or something like that. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for subscribing, all the things, and listening to my craziness. But other than that, I think we're out. Click.